dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. The 12th Petersburg Climate Change Conference started on Monday in Berlin, with German Foreign Minister highlighting the importance of staying focused on climate issues. Cairo addressed the event, and a number of meetings were held on the sidelines. More in the following report.
During his three-day visit to Germany that wrapped up on Tuesday, Sisi held a number of meetings with Germany's Chancellor and senior officials. He presided over a high-level session of the Petersburg Climate Conference. The Egyptian side said the timing of the visit to Germany is of importance both on the bilateral level and with regards to international developments. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock inaugurated the 12th Petersburg Climate Change Conference on Monday. Speaking to the media before the conference, she called for a global resolve to tackle climate change problems. She said the climate crisis does not stop at any border, and that is why the answers must not stop at any border either. She added that the world must intensify joint efforts. Baerbock was joined by Cairo, who echoed her words. Shukri said, quote, "It is incumbent upon us in these uncertain times to act swiftly to ensure that climate action remains at the top of the international agenda, and that the current state of affairs is not taken as a pretext to backtrack or renege on previous commitments," end quote. His comments came after global issues including the conflict in Ukraine and recovery from COVID-19 has drawn attention away from climate issues. Egypt is set to host the United Nations Climate Conference COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt in 2022, after it was rescheduled due to the coronavirus pandemic.
To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Mustafa Tammam, our economic expert. Dr. Tammam, good afternoon to you. Hello, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Sir, Cairo said the timing of the visit to Germany is of importance on both the bilateral level and with regards to the international developments. How would you describe the level of relations between Cairo and Berlin and the timing of the visit?
Well, actually, the relations between Cairo and Germany have been very effective and strong since a long time ago. And Germany has been a supporter in a lot of aspects, political and economical, in the Egyptian arena. On the other side, this visit is quite important, especially because Germany is considered one of the leaders in the European community and has a trust, a very important economic trust. And certainly, Egypt can benefit a lot from the German technology and the German know-how in order to enact the projects that probably our plan here in Egypt, we have a plan until 2030 in order to elevate the economy. So certainly Germany will be playing a very, very important role. On the other side, certainly Germany as a leading country in the European community can support a lot of political issues that face Egypt. So certainly this will be a very important visit in order to strengthen the relations between Egypt and Germany.
Yeah. Sir, how are the international developments facing both sides?
Well, actually, at the moment, you see, the most important thing that affects the worldwide political and economic scene is the war at Ukraine, you see, and hopefully, we hope that this crisis will be coming to an end, because it will have a lot of negative aspects on the economic and political side as well. And certainly it might lead to a confrontation between superpowers, which everyone would not like to see something of that sort. So certainly having stability in the worldwide political and economic arena is very, very important, and hopefully this is a big challenge in order that this war should come to an end, in order that the worldwide community reaches stability and peace.
Yes. Sir, how can the climate finances be provided, as discussed during Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri's meeting with U.S. Presidential Climate Envoy John Kerry on the sidelines of the conference?
Certainly, this is a very important point, and I suggest that there should be an initiative, probably from the United Nations, in order to have a certain fund to be raised from certain countries, that probably European countries and the U.S., in order to finance the issue of this issue, which is very affecting us very seriously, the climate issue. So certainly, initiatives taken by the United Nations under the umbrella of the United Nations will be very important in order to probably organize and have an action plan in order to stabilize the climate changes. As you see, probably you're aware that since the last 3 or 4 days, a lot of countries have witnessed great problems in Greece, for example, and Portugal. They had fires all over the place. The temperature in the United Kingdom raised to reach 40 degrees, and it's something very unusual. All these factors certainly have a negative impact on the economy and on countries worldwide.
Yes. What climate goals should come first on the list of the climate finances, Dr. Reda?
First thing certainly is having to control pollution which is caused by industrial concerns here worldwide. You see, this is a very important issue, that probably using nuclear power in order to generate power instead of probably the traditional ways of generating power, because nuclear power certainly will reduce pollution very much. This is one aspect. The other aspect certainly is handling, you see, the outcomes of the industry. Sometimes you see industries, they throw a lot of probably their outcomes after finishing their products, and these cause a lot of pollution worldwide. So certainly controlling and handling all these issues is very important.
Sir, Cairo was described as seeking more African recognition in combating the climate change. How can that be achieved?
Certainly, this should come because certainly, unfortunately, African countries are not very much aware about the dangers of climate changes. So certainly, I should suggest that an awareness program should be made, and certainly technology itself by advanced countries should take place in order that to give the know-how to these countries and show them the negative effects if they don't take positive actions in order to fight and control pollution that is caused by a lot of factors, as we just mentioned just now.
Yes. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that the Egyptian presidency of the 27th round is, among other goals, launching a 2050 national strategy for climate change. Can you please elaborate on that?
Well, certainly, Egypt here gives a lot of thrust and a lot of importance for the climate changes. And this was evidenced, as you know, certainly we having a conference probably during the end of this year in Sharm el-Sheikh, which will be hosted by a lot of countries. And the point is, which is very important, and I want to emphasize on, that after, unfortunately, some conferences, you see, we held a lot of conferences and talk and all that, and make recommendations. There's not a follow-up technique, or in order to put an action plan in order to implement the recommendations that have been taken in these conferences. So what I suggest is, after having any conference or any event related to climate changes, we should have a steering committee to follow up the implementation of the recommendations made by the conference attendees, and probably this will give a chance, a very big chance, to eliminate any obstacles that might, certainly when you implement any plan, you'll be finding a lot of obstacles. Certainly this committee will eliminate obstacles in order to reach their objectives.
Yes. Sir, what obstacles hinder the international efforts to control the climate change factors?
Certainly, the major obstacle is the industries. Some industries sometimes do not adhere to the procedures to control. You see the waste that is produced by during the production of their products. You see, they do not control the waste, and probably it is not handled in a professional manner. You see, so certainly this is one of the factors that cause the climate pollution. Another one is certainly using traditional techniques in probably like furnaces, you see, that provide in the iron and steel industry, that provide a lot of fumes and smoke that cause a lot of pollution as well. Certainly the technology now has been changing, and certainly there are new ways in order to control all that.
Yeah. Sir, how is renewable energy and climate financing in the Arab world and Africa proceeding?
I think by taking initiatives and by having a follow-up mechanism, as I said just now, this will ensure that probably these countries the African countries specifically, will give an importance to this issue. Because certainly, as I mentioned before, these countries are not very much aware about the dangers of climate changes. And certainly, it's very important to highlight that these changes might have a negative effect on the long run, and we should eliminate, and we will probably focus on that, because these countries probably do not know what are the dangers, so we could focus on them, on these issues, and show them the dangers in order to encourage them and motivate them in order to implement and take the matter of climate change in a very, very serious way.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Mustafa Tammam, our economic expert. Thank you very much, sir, for your precious input. Egypt beat Cape Verde 37-12 on Monday in Cairo to claim their 8th African Championship title, their 2nd in a row. More details follow.
Egypt achieved a new scoring record in the final of the African Men's Handball Championship after scoring 37 goals, breaking their own record of 31 in 2004. Egypt's Omar El Wakil won the Man of the Match award after an outstanding performance in the final. The Pharaohs, who were already overwhelming favorites, had a large advantage of 24-12 at the break against their rivals, who have already created history. Surprise package Cape Verde made it to the final for the first time in their history after beating Morocco in the semis to become the first team not from North Africa to reach the final game. In their debut in the 2020 edition, they finished 5th in the competition that took place in Tunisia. On the other hand, Egypt kicked off their win with a 40-27 over Cameroon before beating Morocco 36-21 to top Group A with the maximum 4 points. They then beat Algeria 34-19 in the quarters before earning a hard-fought 29-27 win against traditional rivals and record title holders Tunisia. Morocco finished 3rd after beating Tunisia 28-24 in the bronze medal contest. Yahya Khalid of Egypt won the Most Valuable Player of the tournament award. Egypt, now with 8 titles, are slowly but surely closing the gap with 10-time champions Tunisia. They could even get closer in 2024, given that Egypt will be hosting the upcoming edition.
Well, that would bring us to the end of this episode of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching.